Welcome to the Aesthetic AF podcast, the go-to resource for marketing and sales for Medspa owners. I'm Dotson Riley.
And I'm Sam Varner.
And today we're going to talk about what your social media is saying about your med spa.
And some of the things to just keep in mind as you're creating content if you're doing it yourself in-house.
So we came up with 5 different things that if you're doing these things on your social media, they are actually speaking a lot about your med spa, and they might not be what you're trying to say through your social media. So we wanted to bring these to your attention.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's get started.
So the first point is if your social media is inconsistent, meaning you post maybe sporadically, you haven't posted in a couple weeks, or worst case, you haven't posted in maybe a year because you've just been neglecting it. So not having that consistent social media schedule can be saying a lot about your business.
It can be saying, well, I mean, if there's been a huge break, we can definitely have the concern that they're not sure if you're even in business anymore, right? If you're not posting consistently, there's questions about the legitimacy of your med spa, and that can be problematic. I think the other piece to that also is what you're posting. Is it branded? Is it consistently branded? So we talk about like consistent posting amounts, right? Regular posting schedules. But the other piece of that is, does every single post look different? You lose that consistency of branding if you're not using the same fonts, if you're not doing things like that are going to become recognizable to your brand. So when you think of a big brand, let's use Nike as an example. If that swoosh looked different every time, if it was skinnier, if it was done the other direction, if it was sometimes upside down, if the Nike word itself was a different font, a different color, it was all of a sudden in italics and it's normally in a bold font, those sorts of things, people don't start to recognize your brand and see it when it shows up. So consistency in branding is as important as consistency in posting.
The other thing with that inconsistency, if you are just posting on a random schedule, like sometimes you post on a Wednesday, you don't post for 3 days, you post on a Monday, you forget for a week, it can make your med spa look unorganized. And like, this is one of those things that's just falling to the wayside. And you don't want potential patients thinking you're dropping the ball on anything, especially not on something so visible to everyone. So having that routine schedule where even if it's you're posting every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or every 2 days, or whatever that looks like for you, whatever makes sense, they know, okay, like there's not huge long gaps where nothing was happening, or sometimes it's 5 days, sometimes it's 10 days, whatever that is. So I think having that routine schedule.
Okay, let's talk for a second. What does that do to the algorithm? So you've got patient facing, but then what does it do to Instagram in terms of pushing your content out if you're not being consistent with your schedule?
It makes it a lot harder for you to grow on any platform, really. And it'll also make it less likely for your post to pop up in the feed because Instagram knows that you're not a consistent creator. So it does affect you in the algorithm if you go a week without posting, if you go a couple days without posting, and things happen. Like it's going to happen to all of us, especially if you don't have a team doing that for you, because as a business owner, you get busy.
Yeah, it's important to realize if it is difficult for you to do consistent posting, it's penalizing you in more ways than you're probably anticipating. And it does feel like something like that you alluded to, that it's easy to drop, right? It's not a client right in front of you ready for a procedure. Obviously, we're not going to drop the ball there, but we need to start looking at and considering our social media to be as important in our sales process to get these people all the way from casual observers to interested to sold patients, and then ideally long-term, consistent, loyal patients.
Yeah.
And you create that by consistency in all of the pieces that you do, so they know what to expect from you, whether they're walking in the door or going onto their social media. They need to know what you're about. So that's how you need to make sure it shows up.
One thing that I hear a lot too is, oh, well, I hadn't posted for a while. I posted once. It didn't do anything. So I neglected it again for a week and it's still not doing anything. So I'm not really devoting a whole lot of time in it because it just keeps not doing anything. That in part, a lot is because you are being inconsistent, if you will do it routinely for 30 days, watch what happens if you commit to that schedule. So, yeah, that's the first
Yeah.
point of just being inconsistent with your social media. Okay, so then point number 2 that we wanted to bring up, if your content is only promotions, what is that saying about your business?
It's saying that you're a discount, period. It's saying that everything is on sale in your business. And people start to rely on that. And you're looking for long-term loyal clients. We're going to talk about that all the time. Long-term loyal patients or clients for your med spa means they're not coming to you because you have the most discounted Botox. They're not coming to you because you've got that, the luck of the Irish promotion facial. It doesn't matter. You want people that are going to come because they're in a consistent schedule. Gosh, we're going to say consistency a lot in this episode, you guys.
Yeah.
But you're in a consistent schedule and they find it to be a requirement in their lives. That's what you're trying to create. And if all we talk about is sales on our social media, then all I care about is, are you cheaper than the other guy?
Yeah.
And that's not helpful.
No, and you want patients that are coming to you because you're the best and you're who they want doing that service for them.
Yeah, we talk so much about luxury branding, luxury marketing, being a luxury med spa. The majority of people that we know are listening to this podcast, that is the goal, right? Is you want to be that location where patients are coming on purpose because of the service and the results that you're giving them. And we're not getting that if our feed looks like just a promotional flyer, right? So when you're looking back and you're evaluating your own social media, I want you to really think about, what is the impression I'm giving somebody when they look at my feed? Are they going to be aiming higher, right? Like, we are all looking at that, the idea that we want something better. We want those results. We want to live the life we see on these posts. And to do that, we have to make sure that's something that people are aiming to achieve. We don't get that same thing when it's just sales all the time.
Yeah.
So,
and we're not saying that you can never have a promotion. I think
No,
there's a
we
lot
need
of
to.
value in having a promotional event. And we're actually, I think, going to do a whole series on how to do that and how to make the most of it. But making sure you have that value weaved in so that it's not only what you're talking about. There should be a lot more value that you're giving than just the discount of the week. The third point that we wanted to talk about was before and afters. So they're a big part of this industry and they're really important as well. But what are your before and after saying about your business if they're unprofessional?
Yeah. Like, okay, just the basics, you guys. You need to work on your lighting. You need to work on the way that you take the photos, similar angles, a very consistent look from photo to photo of a before and after makes me realize you do this all the time. It's very professional. The results are consistent. They're shown on multiple different bodies or multiple different faces, but I can see that it's all the same care and concern level. Your photos say so much about what your business does and whether or not I'm willing to come into your med spa, spend my money, and have you work on me. I want to know that it's going to look a certain way. And if you're doing a bad job of lighting, that's a lighting problem technically. But what it says out into the world is much bigger than just, I need a better light.
Yeah, because so often people are going to associate low quality image with low quality work. And that's more than likely not the case. The work can be super high quality, but if that photo is blurry or poor lighting or it's at a bad angle to where it's not showing the work in the best way possible, all it's saying is that work is not good. And that's not what you want to be doing, of course. The other thing is making sure in your caption you have a lot of disclaimer or a lot of explanation for what this specific patient's situation was and what kind of results came because of that. So making sure that you're not creating unrealistic expectations for anybody that comes in here will get this result. And of course, you know that and you assume people will know that not everyone is the same, but we want to make sure that we do vocalize that and that we communicate that ahead of time.
We've seen a number of things as we spend a lot of time on social media, you guys, going through different profiles that we see. And one of the things that I've noticed more than once is that if the photos aren't labeled before and after, it's sometimes difficult to determine which is the before, which is the after. Most of the time we see that in things that are the before and after are taken the same day. And I think, as you all know, there's such a, let's call it like a slow time for results to show up, right? So there's certain procedures that you're doing that you can see a result right away. You can see what it looks like from when I walked in this morning to when I leave 2 hours later. It is evident. But sometimes it's not. And so it's also creating an opportunity for people to come back in once things have actually settled and everything looks as you expect, and having the before and the after actually be those results. So not necessarily what happens just in the moment, but what they look like 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 7 weeks out from the procedure can go a long way to showing what people can expect, especially when that caption is dictating this is how long it takes to see these results. There are so many people that are out there that are Medspa curious or certain procedure curious. And the more information and education you can give them in terms of what to expect when you haven't done this before, the better, right? So don't discount those pieces of what does your process look like along the way? What are the results that people are getting? What do they look like right before they get their next procedure? We did it 3 months ago. Now they're back in. This is the after the first. Now we're doing the second. What does that look like? Write a story. Tell me a story and let me be able to follow along so that I can decide whether you're the right place for me or this is the right procedure for me.
Yeah. Well, and as the med spa owner or as the provider actually doing these, you're entrenched in this world every single day. And so I think a lot of things become, well, it's obvious which is which. It's obvious that this is the before, this is the after. But making sure you take off that expert eye whenever you're posting, because the people that you're posting for have no idea. You really have to act like you're posting for a group of kindergartners and explain it like that. Not demeaning, of course. They just don't know. And so making sure that your social media does have enough explanation so that it is obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our fourth point is about if you're not engaging with your audience.
Yeah. It happens all the time. People are commenting on posts, they're liking posts, they're engaging, and you're ignoring. So let's pretend for a second that's the phone ringing.
Yeah.
And you're ignoring it. I know that can sometimes happen, but on your social media, when you realize how much money is sitting there in the comments that you're not engaging with, you're not taking advantage of the fact that you can showcase your expertise in the comments. When somebody asks you a question about a procedure, about the results, or whatever it is, your ability to succinctly answer them and demonstrate that you're an expert goes a long way. It's like, take advantage of what is a free platform that you can promote and sell yourself on in a way where people are actually, it's a two-way dialogue. It should be a social community. It shouldn't just be a flyer.
Yeah, it's not a one-way billboard.
Yeah.
And if somebody has taken the time out of their day to comment on your post or to send you a message, they're trying, that's their olive branch of like, I want an interaction with this company, with this injector, with this med spa. Respond to that, build that community, build that relationship, whether they book an appointment right then or they book one in 5 years from now. You've built that relationship by just simply commenting back, thank you. And so just building that community and making sure that you're engaging back with those that are engaging with you. And then on the other side of that, not commenting back or not responding to messages can also hurt you in the algorithm. So that's another thing. You want to just make sure that you're always commenting back there because it helps your engagement and it'll help your posts show up to more people that could possibly comment or book a service.
So the end goal of your social media is to get more bookings. That is what you're meant to do. So one of the things that Tara and I believe so strongly is the fact that you need to have your marketing speaking to that potential client that has to answer all of their questions. They need to be pre-sold from everything that they see from you out in the world. Your comments are a huge part of that. And then you need to be able to pull them from that commenting into your sales funnel. And if you're not doing that, you are leaving so much money on the table, you guys. We believe in marketing and sales having a hand-in-hand strategy together. And this can feel like a lot. You can listen to this podcast and think like, holy shit, I'm not doing all of the things that they're saying. In fact, I think maybe I'm doing all the things they're telling me not to do. How do I even start fixing that? This is where we come in. This is where we can help. So we don't want this podcast to come across as like a terrible report card on all of the things that you're doing wrong on your social media, but an enlightenment of, here are the areas where you might be missing the mark. How can you now go about addressing them? And that might be in-house, or it might be calling people like us that can help you actually manage it from a strategic standpoint and take it off your plate.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that leads us into our last point, which is if you're not using video content.
Oh, yes.
So not only are the platforms prioritizing video now to where that helps you show up more consistently, but people engage with videos more. A picture's worth 1,000 words, a video's worth 100,000 words. So make sure you're utilizing that tool, and you have a phone, set it up, take a video of what you're doing, but use that video content to help show your expertise, to help show how you provide value to clients, to help explain something, but just make sure you're utilizing that video side of social media.
Yeah. I mean, just video. Yeah. Video everything. We do it in our own businesses, right? And listen, we have both been guilty of forgetting to do the B-roll video and realizing that just setting a tripod up, having it running, there's content you can pull from that with very little effort on your part, making sure that your lighting is good when you're doing that so that it's actually valuable. It's important, and it doesn't take a whole lot of effort.
And I think sometimes video content can seem super overwhelming as well, for especially somebody that's like, I don't really like to be on camera. I don't want to do that. I don't know how to set it all up. But there are people like us that you can consult with and get that strategy, get the how to set it up, what you need, and then even just pass off those video files to be like, okay, now do what you do. Yeah. So it doesn't always have to be so, I feel like it's daunting and overwhelming, like, oh, I have to take all this video content, but just know that there's other options for how you can get that done. But know that it is an important thing to have no matter how you get it done.
Yeah, no matter what, lean into video, right? Lean into being willing to be on camera. Everybody feels uncomfortable. Everybody feels awkward. You know what? People are not ever evaluating you the way that you do. So if you can just grin and bear it, take the video, it will be usable in your social media, and it allows people to get to know you and your personality.
Yeah, so those are the 5 things that we wanted to just bring to the table today, and what your social media could be saying about your med spa. So I think keep those 5 things in mind as you're planning out your content, as you're looking at your marketing, evaluate that.
Yeah. Yeah, just keep an eye on it, and then reach out for help if you need help. Don't feel like you have to do it yourself, right? You don't have to do it yourself, but you do have to do it. So either way, you've got to find a way to get this done, because in this day and age, social media is really important in terms of getting new clients, of retaining older clients, and of being able to move those clients into more and more products and services that you want to have them purchasing from you. So it's critical to get better at it. That's all for this week. We're so excited you're here, and we'll be back next week.